On
Hello and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Allison and I'll be your host. And with me is Brian, who will also be your host. And today, today we're going to be covering a video by a YouTuber, you remember those feminist bedroom tubers, those bedroom feminists?
bedroom feminists.
Yes, I believe this is a bedroom feminist all grown up.
All grown up.
All grown
and
up.
Now in her studio apartment feminists.
In her studio
condo
apartment
feminists.
With her adult daycare job and her gigantic student loan. Anyway, so this is going to be a look at Bryony Claire. I think it's pronounced Bryony Claire. And she brings us a video on
Bryony.
Is it like Byron or
Bryony?
Like
Bryony. Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Okay. So this is women don't want to date you, or women want to date you just to break up with you. Excited, happy face, dating XX. Now, this is a little bit trolly, the title that we decided on, but it's starting to feel a little triumphalist, and that's slightly gross. So the original title of this video was Women Are Entering Their Breakup Era.
Oh, yeah.
Lagging behind. That's like, I mean, really, men are entering their breakup era. Okay. All right. So you're basically considering the breakdown of relationships to be a form of triumphalism. Stick it to the patriarchy, get rid of your man or something, right?
Yeah. Well, thanks, Taylor Swift. I don't know what else. I mean, I don't know if it's going to come up, but it seems that when you are a failure at relationships as a woman, it is something worth celebrating. We're basically looking at that meme where the guy wins the bronze medal, but you see this guy he gets the champagne, he shakes it up, and he's like, yeah, and then the camera pulls back and it shows he's in third place, over celebrating. That's this. It's a woman doing that at the bottom of the dating pool, an incel that thinks that they've won.
It's not getting into the relationship, getting a man or getting an adult other person to commit to you. That's not the triumph.
No,
it's not being able to do those things, not being able to maintain a relationship. That's the triumph. Is the easy part is getting into a relationship and maintaining it. The hard part is breaking up. No, the triumphal part is breaking up. The part that really requires a certain genius, these are the maestros of breaking up, that's what requires skill. Quitting.
Yeah.
You think it's the marathon runner. No, it's the guy who quit in half a kilometer in. That's the guy with the great skill, because he has to face stigma. Actually probably faces more stigma for doing that than women for leaving their relationships, but regardless. And the other thing is that isn't relationships with men, because men all just want one thing, and it's disgusting. Right? Yeah, men are so simple and easy.
Yeah.
So basically you've just lost the game on easy mode, because if you do it a hard mode is dating another woman, right? Because women are complex and demanding, and intricate, and very many things. Men are
ephemeral.
Apparently men are simple, but they're harder to satisfy or harder to do, because they're apparently both simple and their desires are endless and unacceptable or endlessly huge. But women are complex, but not harder to have relationships. Okay. I'm just saying that there's going to be a lot of contradiction in this, and I do not know what she's trying to do, what kind of skit she's trying to do in the first 2 or 3 minutes. Let's start with that, because I'm a writer. I like story consistency. I like a story I can follow, and she's presenting a story in the first 2 or 3 minutes to try to I guess, dramatize her theme of her video. And it has the same kind of confusing doublethink as men being simple in relationships, but also much more difficult to please somehow than women who are complex, but easier to please. So anyway, let's keep going. Let's
All right, let's get into the video.
Oh wait, should I do the things first? Yeah.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Good to
All right. So if you want to send us a message at any time throughout this show, you want to interrupt my witterings to make a pointed comment, or perhaps attempt to resurrect the elder gods, whatever, send us a comment at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. That is feedthebadger.com/justthetip. We get the full benefit of whatever funds you send, and you get the full benefit of sending your comment not through YouTube and having a place to send it on X, because currently I don't think there is a place to send super chows or super chats or any kind of chats on X. I mean, Elon should get on that. Or
no,
whoever.
Well, there is a chat. There is a chat on X, but there's no super chows.
It's a mysterious beast. It's sort of,
yeah.
It comes and goes. I don't really know how to access it. I've never seen it. Apparently, it doesn't interface with our chat software, so we can't put it on screen. But it's there. But if you want to send us a tip and a chat, go to feedthebadger.com/justthetip. We are also doing our monthly fundraiser at feedthebadger.com/support. We are very close, actually very close to finishing this month.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, comparatively.
All right.
Oh, yeah. And I just want to give a big shout out to everybody who supported, because and early too. Like that's really great. Like I really appreciate being able to continue to do this work, because this is not an analysis that's very popular, but I think it's an analysis that's really critical. And you guys, every month, you help us out and make sure we can continue to do it. In particular, I want to give a big shout out, big hugs, big thank yous to Richard Bier, The Great Endures, Anonymous, who put in $1,000, and Machine, who put in $1,000 just a couple days ago. Thank you so much, guys. It's great. It is great to see this be funded, and us continue to be able to say that men deserve to feel like they are lovable.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Oh wait, I also have Meredith G gave us $100 last night too. Okay, Meredith G.
Thank you, Meredith.
Always coming in and helping out. So we are actually only 1,175 from the goal. So that's that, and we got a few days left. So that's actually quicker than usual. And thank you for that. Like, as again, I'm a sort of a nervous person, so I'm always chewing my nails. And it really helps, guys, putting that in early. All right, let's
So you want me to just start at the beginning?
Yeah, speaking of me being nervous, like this thing that she's constructed makes me really nervous in its confusingness. So let's go. Let's do it. All right. She got these two characters. You'll see.
You think you know pain, do you? You don't know real pain. Have you ever been in love with a man? You give them your heart, your trust, your soul, and they give you back their laundry and also a whole bunch of insecurities that you never used to deal with before. And then you just get left behind as a broken husk of a shell of a person. I don't know who I am without...
I'm just pausing it there for the banana. It's like 20 seconds.
Honestly. But here's the thing. I don't know what character she's constructing with this black and white woman, because initially it sounds like she's like almost I won't say a radical feminist, because radical feminists, want to kill men. But they take feminist theory to its logical conclusion, which is there is no peace between the genders. There is only war and genocide. But I'm not sure. Like this character appears to be like a Sex and the City feminist type, or maybe a Manifestel feminist type who's like, these relationships with men don't, like that kind of thing. But then she sort of morphs into a cool girl, I think. So I don't know. What's going on.
But I want to watch more of this. Okay. This is a clip from a show. Well, I mean, I want, where is the chase And how do I cut to it? Okay.
No, there will be no cutting to the chase.
I know that's pathetic. I know it's pathetic, but it's true. Who am I supposed to be now?
Honey, be yourself.
What? Who? No! Ew!
And then they leave, saying that you're no longer the girl that they started dating anymore, saying that your expectations are too high. How dare you actually think that they know that they need to do the washing up when it's on the side of the kitchen? How dare you think that they should know that they need to go grocery shopping every week just like you do? You can't expect them to put the same amount of effort in as you do, because their job is so much more important than yours, silly.
Sarcasm
You
or
expected him to remember your birthday.
Okay. Is this sarcasm, or is she now saying like you can't have these expectations? Like, this is the thing. I'm confused.
I think she's
by this
playing the
character.
girl in pink's inner thoughts or something. And her inner thoughts are also passive aggressive and sarcastic. So you can't really, even your own inner thoughts aren't direct with you. That's what I'm gathering. I don't know.
You know
That's
what's
what I'm
really
gathering.
funny about this insecurities thing? I'm gonna do a couple anecdotes. Since on the main channel I started doing shorts, and the shorts have a huge female viewership, I now have, as a result of the women going and commenting on my shorts, several insecurities that I never had with just a almost 90% male audience. Like, men will go into your comments, and if they don't agree, they'll be like, "You're ugly and I want to listen to you," and then they'll fuck off. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Women hone in. They're precise. They're like snipers. They're like, oh, if you wore my makeup, you would look younger. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my, your teeth. I can't believe. And oh my God, look at those spots. And it's like, wow, this is what it's like to commonly have like content that women consume, because it's awful.
Only if you're not telling them something that, if you're telling them something they don't want to hear, I think.
They will do it to people that they like to. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's just because I'm telling them things they don't want to hear. But certainly they like men are just they don't know how to insult people's looks. I'll be honest.
Well, men generally don't have an interest in getting that specific, though.
Yeah, that women are so surgical about it. They're like, they'll find any imperfection and then just hammer it. Just gleefully.
Well, that was the thing with Belle Delphine that I brought up, where she was on Ethan, what's his name? Ethan Klein's podcast. And, Belle Delphine is basically the queen of simps with OnlyFans and like all these pictures. And he asked her, like, if men are bully her online. And he was baiting her into saying that they do. And she said, no, actually, like, I mean, I get some of that, but like, it's just like you said, like most of the most vicious attacks come from women because they're very specific. Like, they know how to target your weaknesses, and they will, put them on full display. And men don't generally do that,
They savage
So yeah,
each other.
this is exactly.
And I know that I speak, but Belle Delphine doesn't really say much, I would say, that's too controversial with the ladies. They just savage her because
they savage her because she gets male attention.
Yeah, she gets male attention. She put her face out there, right? And the way that women savage each other is specifically designed to induce insecurity and very specific insecurities. Like I said, I've had features that I did not even realize were notable, and they have latched onto them and made me self-conscious about them. And I know this process, and it's like, that's what the women in the audience have done. And yes, many of them disagree with me. And that's why they're doing it. Could also be just because I put myself out there, and again, men are so they're so general about how they insult that it's almost pointless. Like, it just rolls off your back, right? But the other thing I want to bring up is she's talking about men giving women insecurities. And I just want to do a little anecdote from being with my husband. All right. So I get these spots, like they're sunspots or something. And I'm genetically prone to them. So I got a lot of freckles or whatever they're on my neck. And I'm self-conscious about them because, they're a little bit raised, so I've always felt sort of bad about them. And women will point it out. They'll immediately hone in on it. And so I started to initiate going to the dermatologist to see if I can do anything about them. And apparently there's not much you can do. You can get them like laser removed, but they'll leave white discoloration.
Scars.
Yeah, they'll leave scars and discoloration. So it's just like something you have to live with. I mean, I might still pursue that option, but I was sitting there with the dermatologist, and you know, it's a little bit silly, but my husband ended up going in with me, and she was talking about, you know, these freckles, they're benign. There's not much you can do with them. You can laser them off, but they'll leave scars and they'll probably come back. So it's not much you can do. And I'm like, my husband's like, yeah, but they're fine. I think of them as like 3D freckles. They're cute. And I'm like, an insecurity that women caused me because they pointed it out, my husband is trying to make me feel better about. This is full of shit. Like this idea that it's men giving you these insecurities is full of shit. This is another situation where women are doing it to each other and blaming men. And what is the freaking point? You're destroying the one relationship, lady. You're destroying the one relationship that is far more likely to be, hey, it's not a big deal. Actually, I think they're cute, or there's nothing to worry about, which is more likely the man in your life, in order to preserve the relationships that are more likely to tear you down. Like, okay, I just wanted to point that out, like a little bit.
All right.
Background.
All right, let's play more of the video.
Sure. They can actually get you a gift or even a card. Silly rabbit.
He's got far more important things on his mind and you're not one of them.
But now you do get to know what pain is. Good luck to you for finding someone new. You think a man's going to want someone as demanding as you? You think a man's going to want someone who's as independent as you? You think a man's going to want a progressive feminist like you? Ooh, as
How is
if
it that you can be so independent, but the moment you're in a relationship with a man, you become demanding? Like, presumably as an independent woman, you're able to manage your own time. You're able to pursue your own hobbies. You're able to entertain yourself. You're able to manage your own finances. You're able to pay your own bills. So where's this demandingness come from? Presumably as an independent woman, the only thing you'd need a man for is companionship. You know, somebody to snuggle up with and watch a movie, you know, someone to go out and have a nice dinner with, which you both pay for because you're both independent, you know, and all of this kind of thing. All you need a man for is independence. So where's all this demandingness coming from? Exactly. It's sort of incompatible with being independent.
I just want to point out that I was right. This is her inner voice. So basically,
because her inner
yes,
voice
this is her inner
inconsistent.
voice is essentially beating her up. And it's men's fault.
And it's also a cool girl.
Yeah, but her inner voice is abusive to her, apparently.
Yeah, but what, she should just tell her inner voice, well, if I'm independent, then I don't need to make demands. So what are you talking about?
Yeah, but that would mean women have like choices and agency. We can't have that.
Oh shit, you're right.
Come on now.
Come on.
Get with the times. Women are victims of their own inner voices now. I mean, they always were, and they always blame men for that. But anyway, let's. I'm fairly certain I'm right. Let's find out.
you are now completely alone. He has now gone. Oh wait, he's gone? You mean I don't have to do all the housework for 2 people anymore? You mean I don't have to do all of his emotional support because he refused to go to therapy for years?
How are you? Okay, but wait a second. How are you simultaneously too demanding and doing everything? Silence.
Well, we have to watch more of the video, so.
This is great. Wait, okay, you're actually meant to be really scared by this. You're not meant to be celebrated. You're meant to be heartbroken as a puddle on the floor. You're meant to be Natalie Imbruglia right now.
Okay,
your life is now over. A man has rejected you. You are alone. That means that you're now a spinster. Everything's gonna be bad from now on. This is amazing. What is this feeling?
And see why I said this is triumphalism?
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of.
I'm a lonely incel loser, but because I'm a woman, it's actually a good thing. Take that, patriarchy. I'm alone and I'm not miserable because I said so.
I'm just curious how she's both demanding and doing everything.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just getting back to that illogic. It's just confusing me. You know, I can't get over it. Like, what are you demanding if you're doing everything?
Something slightly resembling gumption.
My one job is to ruin people's self-esteem, and now they're ruining mine. Single is no longer scary. So are the straights actually okay? Debatable, always. But when it comes to this scenario, there's definitely some that are faring more okay.
Can we go back to the little snippets there?
Are the straights okay? Okay.
Straights
I guess
actually
she's a
okay.
lesbian?
Debatable.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what it suggests. Okay, boys, if you're not interested, then just say it. Women, I'm not interested. Boys, let me change that. This one, bottom left, it says 34 ways your girlfriend is micro cheating and totally getting away with it. Okay. It's a boy, blue mushroom cloud. I don't know what that means. I guess boys are that destructive. When you think it can't get worse, you notice the glove. So what?
Well, I guess these two hippies, she gave birth in a shed and he helped her, and that's horrible.
Oh yeah, I guess so. And then it says
you're on notice. You're
9 months ago.
Fascists.
Not 9 months ago, my mommy read. I don't know. My mom. Okay, my mommy bred maybe, because 9 months ago my mother. I mean, I don't know.
That's probably just a funny like jumper.
Okay.
All right, these are horrifying for some reason.
More antinatalist garbage. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I also
appreciate
think
it.
The nuclear bomb with "It's a Boy."
Yeah, I said that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
The mushroom cloud. It's a boy, because boys are mushroom clouds.
Boys are
blue
mushroom
mushroom
and
clouds.
That's
yeah, of course.
That's very misogynist of whoever did that. Yep. Okay, let's go. Let's do it.
All right, let's play some more.
Always. But when it comes to this scenario, there's definitely some that are faring more okay than others. Quick disclaimer, because I know that people love to misinterpret me. All relationships, be they platonic or romantic, require effort and respect on all sides, okay? And I'm not just saying, oh, it's just men that are doing this, because trust me, I've seen women treat men terribly. What we're pointing out in this video is kind of like the issues that's going on with straight relationships. So
okay.
So you've seen women treat people terribly.
She just paid it lip service, so we can we've lost. We have to close it up because she said sometimes women are bad too. So let's just end the show now. It's over. We lost. It's over. We've been paid lip service. Okay, let's play some more.
Yeah. I'm not purposefully excluding other people. It's more the fact that
I think this is just the LGBTQ disclaimer.
Yeah, of course. Like, don't come after me, G Mafia, because I just choose to focus on these people over here right now. If that's okay, don't kill me. Yeah, these people, that is men.
Wow.
All right.
I am not. Well, I don't. I guess I am LGBT because I'm bi. But my God, that graphic, y'all deal with enough. Just sit back and enjoy this video. That's pissing me off.
Well,
it is such a condescending attitude. Like I usually don't like sit in being LGBT and then just like, or GLBT or GBLT, and just like get pissed at people. But you're pissing me off, lady.
Yeah.
You're talking down to me because I'm part of this group. And you're saying, oh, you deal with so much, so don't get on my case. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, are you a bloody narcissist?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. Okay. No, I think there's a lot of narcissism on the internet, and I think a lot of it comes from women. I think there's a lot of female narcissism on the internet.
You don't say.
Yeah, I do. I think that's what this is. Yes. I'm just going to put it out there. Yes. Especially when they play characters Like they like reinvent their identities online. Like this woman is playing a character. That's not her when the cameras turn off. She is weeping alone, listening to Natalie Imbruglia. But okay, anyway.
There is something which I've seen bubbling for like a year, and I've wanted to make this video for a year, but now I just it's time, and you also voted for it, so here we go. Historically, being single has been an incredibly scary thing for women. If a man leaves you, you are left vulnerable, destitute almost, an old hag, someone that nobody wants anymore, and like a burden on society, and you would struggle to get by, basically. And
Okay, and there's a reason. Lady, nobody survived, or very few people survived outside of a family for most of human history until the modern age and the prosperity created by basically the Industrial Revolution, plus some other factors. All right, so it was scary to not have a relationship because if you didn't have children, you didn't have any kind of a pension plan, right? This is the thing. Like, humans don't survive outside of families. This is what you're saying. In the past, humans didn't survive outside of families.
Yes, but she's saying women.
Yeah, but it's okay. Well, men had.
No, I know what the truth is, Allison.
Yeah, I know.
But she is saying women because that's all she cares about, and she's also spinning a story. She's creating a narrative. So she has to only talk about women.
Yeah. And
right?
The other thing is that even if you were a spinster, you could, I mean, in past eras, your brothers, your father, your male relatives were financially responsible for you.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like you were going to be thrown out on the streets if you didn't get married. If you had family, you could rely on them, although they might consider it a bit of an imposition if you are really vocal about it. And the other thing is that, yes, married women were given a certain amount of status. So were married men. When there were economic downturns, bachelor men couldn't get jobs because the jobs went to men who were supporting women. Right? There's been a lot of issues because societies in the past had an investment in getting people into families because they felt that families were productive. That included single men. There were bachelor taxes against single men. There's a lot of social stigma against single men up until like recently. You know, one guy I spoke to a long time ago who was like one of the old, like probably boomer, which isn't that old, but like I might have even been a generation before boomer. It was years and years ago, like decades ago, probably even 20 decades ago, or not 20, 2 decades ago, 20 years
I was going
ago.
to say, what? 20 decades? Is he a wizard?
I just revealed something.
To live on the top of a mountain somewhere with a beard like his...
No.
Okay.
Yes, he said that the only thing that he felt feminism ever did for men was get rid of the stigma around being a bachelor. There used to be huge stigma around being a bachelor in the past. She's admitting all of this.
Oh, yeah.
And there was also stigma for around men violating her promises. Look at Phyllis Schlafly's address against the Equal Rights Amendment. At the time she wrote that, which I think was the early 70s, men could still be prosecuted for breach of promise laws, which means if a woman felt like you had promised a relationship to her and hadn't delivered, you could end up in jail or fined. Like, this is imagine that. Like, yeah, maybe women had some social stigma against remaining unmarried in a world where natalism, both sexes were expected to get married. But at least if they let a man on, they couldn't end up in jail or fined. Like,
right to jail, right away.
This is so one-sided. So let's see. Where is she going to take this one-sided view of history?
Yeah, I mean, she's intentionally... Yeah, this is intentional. So, okay, but let's see.
Eventually, you were kind of screwed, so you had to put up with it, whatever it turned out to be, and just stand by your man.
Abusive husbands.
What are you talking about? There was always protections in law against abuse. There were freaking restraining orders in the 1900s. And she's going to use this picture from the honeymooners. Which was
the honeymooners. Absolutely. And Ralph never He never beat up Alice, never once. He only threatened to do it, and we thought it was funny. But of course, you know, feminists don't find anything funny. So, yeah, usually because she was giving him shit. Like it was just, you know what? I'm not going to get into it.
Again,
but the honeymooners was not violent, for the record.
She does not compare this to the situation for men at all.
Yeah,
like men didn't have protections against being domestically abused at all. And now we find out with these population surveys that women, you know, they give their fair amount of abuse in relationships. So she's looking in the past and she's saying, oh, women had to put up with it. So did men. Nobody could leave their relationships. And men could never, ever. Once they had married, their obligations to their wife never ended. There were men who had to pay for the house that their wife sat in with her new lover. And that was in the 1900s. This is stuff that's, you know, you are not looking at the situation for men at all because you're spinning a narrative. You are constructing a world that doesn't exist.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see what she does with the honeymooners.
All right.
Divorce was only starting to get a little bit more normalized in the 1960s, but it carried
Ricky Ricardo
stigma still.
Ricky Ricardo was like a total simp for Lucy. I mean, he would get angry with her, but it was so. Anyway, you know what? I'm not even going to respond to this.
Get angry when she did something manifestly insane.
Because she did. That was the character. It was like it was why the show was popular, is because Lucille Ball would get into trouble all the time. But like, I'm not even going to go there, because if you're referencing pop culture shit to make your argument about reality, you're full of shit right off the bat. Because pop culture is not reality. It is like, in fact, a lot of it is propaganda. Like, so. I'm just going to dismiss this.
Does it start and people like really a Xerox of a Xerox of reality?
Yeah, it's like a third generation Xerox.
Using that clip, like it's just
because she like this is what
her out of jail.
Isn't it? Yeah, but isn't this what they always do? Like they say, you know, historically women have always had it hard, and they show like some old like 1950s black and white TV show or movie where, you know, women are, you know, like they're homemaking, they're in the kitchen, they do stuff like that all the time. It's so emotionally manipulative. It's really frustrating because it's nothing. It's completely empty. But all of this is just created to they put this out there because they want an emotional response from you. And if you respond to that emotionally and say, oh my God, I can't believe, and they can just show a clip of like some guy saying, you know, oh, I sure do love my doll because she makes the best meat, the best pot roast in the neighborhood, you know, and then they'll show that. And it'll be like, oh my God, the oppression. But people, women especially, they are prone, they are vulnerable to this stuff. So they go, oh my God, I don't want to be measured by the quality of my meatloaf or pot roast. It's like, But they'll do that though. Like this is I'm saying like
it's so funny.
It works. It works.
The thing is that also comes from a time when women's proficiency in the domestic sphere was a huge part of even their partners' social climbing. Like this was a way that it was even more prevalent in the Victorian era. Like women had a huge part to play through developing these networks and maintaining these networks in their husband's businesses and entertaining his clients or entertaining in his boss. You know, that had an influence on his prospects. So it was not just like this kind of thing where it was just, oh, we're just serving the family. She was also, that was her skills, her domestic skills were an aspect of elevating her status in her community. So, you know, him bragging about his wife's pot roast, I mean, I don't even see that, like, that is the development of a skill.
Yeah.
You know, in a different community, he might be bragging about his wife's watercolors or musical talents or something like that. Like, I don't even get why that's so offensive, but you're right. It was your example. So I won't belabor it.
It's okay. I'm just saying, like, this is just what they always do. Mm-hmm. And I mean, once you see it, you know, like in a few places, you're like, you just know it's coming. So, all right, let's play more of her video.
Get treated differently and terribly in a lot of cases, especially.
Actually, you know what I want to mention really quick? I think the reason why I've noticed that feminists, they often like take on this kind of 1940s, 1950s style aesthetic. And I think the reason is because they're trying to invoke those memories. Like they're trying to invoke an emotional reaction. They're not memories that they have because they didn't live in that time, but there's an emotional connection to it, I think. Because this girl is trying to do like a, like a vibe, that feels like old timey with the flowers and everything in the background and the colors, and it's kind of girly. And so I think it's supposed to invoke the same, like, not real memories, but the kind of false emotional baggage that comes with the way that they have essentially propagandized everyone into believing what the past was like. So that works. I think it's an effective way of doing things. Well, let's see.
Especially if you're a woman. Ann Peterson writes in Blue Marriage and the Terror of Divorce, financially women got hit hard by divorce. A whole swath of people dropped out of the middle class entirely, many of them newly divorced mothers whose standard of living, according to one 1976 study, fell between 29 to 73%. And they suffered from downward mobility.
1976.
What?
It's the feminist study from 1976.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Blue Marriage and the Terror of Divorce.
Are you going to look up the study? We could revisit it at some future point, but considering it's a feminist study from the 70s, I'm not going to have my hopes up.
Yeah, well,
that's going to be honest.
I think that this is actually a Substack.
Oh,
so
it's a Substack
article.
So they're just making reference to something.
Okay. No, I think this might be the wrong one.
All right. Well,
no, it's definitely okay. All right. So let's continue on with this. I would have to take a little bit more time to figure out what
argues actually had an impact on the kids of these marriages, because they could actually see that no, marriage actually doesn't mean a stable life. What it can offer and what it can't offer.
Obviously, if it ended in divorce, it didn't. Like,
yeah.
Not a be-all and end-all anymore. And I really want to remind you that financial freedom as a woman has only been a very recent thing. As a woman in the USA, you're only able to get a credit card in 1974, a no-fault divorce.
My credit card story. Again, credit card is not money. Maybe it is to you, but a credit card is not money.
She's going about the credit card thing?
She's talking about the credit card thing.
The reason why they did that was because husbands were responsible for their wives' debts.
Yes, of course.
So they wanted to make sure that the guy who was ultimately responsible for paying for it was able to.
And now that women can also get credit cards, well, men are still responsible for their debts. No, I mean, in a lot of cases.
Yeah, in a lot of cases.
If you marry a woman in debt.
If there's a communal. If there's communal property, but if it's in a communal property state. But the thing is, like, she's bringing this up, and it's, again, she's not looking at the situation for men. Men were, for a very long time, legally obligated to their wives' finances. So if her wife actually did take on a debt, he would have to pay it. And they would, and the institutions that were giving out credit would want to know the credit worthiness of the person who ultimately was responsible for paying for it. And that's a little bit different than what she's suggesting here. Also, 1974, like, when did credit start? You realize that a lot of credit was not very useful until they developed this kind of widespread banking, which required computers.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a hell of a lot going on with credit. A lot of economic exchange happening with credit in like the 70s, as far as I can tell. Certainly not as much as it started to be in the 80s and 90s. But okay, let's keep going.
All right.
actually came about far later than what you may think. 1970 in the USA, 1976 in Germany, and 2022 in the UK. Yikes, as Emma Bunton wisely sang.
Jesus.
That's such a pop, by the way. I love
Men
that song.
were responsible for
know
women's credit until 2022 in the UK. Holy.
Pressing X to doubt on that, but
Well, no, but yeah, X to doubt, but also the only reason why they do this is because they expect men to pay for the credit card. Like they're the ones who underwrite it. So
I wonder why they feel it's so necessary to make the argument for credit cards like this is an important sign of financial security, because I find that a bit concerning considering interest rates and the other issues that can come out of that. I don't know. I don't like it. No, sir, I don't like it.
Okay, let's keep
All
going.
right. Anyway.
people around my age who have gotten divorced, and have I looked down on them? No. Honestly, if anything, there was definitely a twinge of sadness because I love seeing people happy, and people seem so happy when they were married, but it's really sad to actually know that that wasn't actually the case. That's really more of it. But I know that so much of it comes down to, oh, well, the best years of her life.
Here's here's a clip from a movie with Sally Field, who is a known super hardcore feminist. That's really useful.
Actually the case. That's really more of it. But I know that so much of it comes down to, oh, well, the best years of her life are behind her. And I'm like, no, what do you mean? Because I'm sorry, but if you're in a relationship with someone that's not making you happy, those are not the best years of your life. In the same way where people always go on about like school and college being the best years of your life, no, for a lot of us, they were hell and torture.
What people really mean by this is her breeding years are diminished, which I mean sure is a factor if the person wants to have children, but it's not the nail in the coffin for happy.
But most people do want children.
Yeah, most people do want children, but also this once again goes back to the situation for women.
Yeah.
Like it really has nothing to do with men. That's biology.
Yep.
If anything, men have helped you overcome biology, thus women can actually have children later. You know, I mean, it's expensive and it often doesn't work.
It's risky, yeah.
It's risky, but it still is a possible outcome, you know, and that's because of men. They have made it so that you are less reliant on your biological factors. And incidentally, men even constructed the ability to liberate women from these biological limitations with the pill and abortion, safe and effective abortion. So I'm not exactly sure where men come into, like, how do men come into this?
Yeah, I don't know that they're going to, but we'll see.
The fact that men prefer women who are younger, well...
Can I just pose a question or something to think about? So when men get into their adult years, and let's say that they have not, like they're not that ambitious. They haven't found like a high paying job. They haven't pursued status. Maybe they still live at home with their parents. And we would call that a failure to launch, right? Mm-hmm. For men, we think it's a sad and bad thing. They're becoming a burden on society. We don't have a lot of respect for them because they're not fulfilling their, I guess, like what we would, say is a duty to society by, moving out of the house, getting a job, and finding somebody, right? Mm-hmm. But this is not the way that we treat women in the same position. We don't consider that a failure to launch, right? I'll give you a quick anecdote. So I had a friend, he was my boss when I worked in an art supply store years ago. He was my boss and he had this wife and they were very happy together and I knew them both and we used to hang out, and all that. And then one day she just asked for a divorce. There was another guy. She was like, sleeping around with another guy. And that was terrible and everything else, but that's not what this is about. But what was funny about it is that when they got the divorce, they suddenly couldn't afford to live in the city. So they had to move back home with their parents, respective parents. She moved back in with hers and he moved back in with his. she didn't have a problem moving on from that, because when a woman has to live with her parents, we don't see it as a mark against her. We see it as, you know, it's sort of a tragic thing that we all feel a great swell of pity for this poor woman that, you know, doesn't have like a good man, and her prospects don't look good. Meanwhile, if a man has to go back home to his parents, it's pathetic. And we're supposed to, again, see them as giant children that can't like get their shit together. So we do have a double standard on that. But here's what I'm wondering. So what if the female equivalent of failure to launch is essentially just not trying to find a man to settle down with and have kids with, but like putting all that off because you want to enjoy the best years of your life, you know, like just going out to the club and hanging out with your girls and going, like, basically doing the Sex in the City thing. Like, what if that is failure to launch for women? Because like I'm just putting it out there. I don't know what you guys think. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but just putting it out there. Like, if you look at what it is when a man fails at something, we know what it looks like. We have something to call it. It makes sense because it's essentially denying, you know, what is I guess a path that we expect from men, but we don't have that for women, you know. And I know that for me, this is just my personal opinion, I'm not interested in holding men to a lower standard so that they're more like women. I'm interested in holding women to a higher standard. So I think that if you're a woman that's making videos on YouTube talking about how, oh, I don't really need to, not, you know, family's not for everybody, I don't need to have kids, I think I can just stay here with my cats and just go, you know, go out and try different things and travel, etc. Well, guess what? You're being a big child, and that's like essentially, I think that might be the female equivalent of failure to launch, because a woman who's stuck at home with her parents, we don't see that as shameful, and it's not hard for her to get out of it. She just finds a man and she goes and moves in with him. So it's not like men can't do that. Like it doesn't work the same, because women do not want to be to rescue a man from, you know, his situation if he lives with his parents. So I'm just putting it out there. I don't know. Let you guys let me know what you think about that. All right, do you want to get back to or do you want to say something about that, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that we don't really hold women to the same standard, which would probably be a good thing if we did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good point. Like, we don't condemn women if they just want to. We really don't condemn women if they just want to do whatever. Why would we? I mean, it just increases the GDP for everybody be in their own little household.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep. Let's keep this going.
Let's keep going.
Happiness like it's been sold to us. It's literally placing the worth of a person based on their ability to birth to provide function for a man. Ick.
But this has been changing in recent years.
If you want kids, it's something to consider, isn't it? But also, if that's what men value, then that's what men value.
You know, it's funny. It's like the one thing you guys do that men can't do, and you don't value it yourself. It's the one thing that women can do that men can't claim. But what you want is to claim everything that men already are expected to do, and then you treat it like a bonus. I mean, it's like you're basically creating your own doomed fate, and you're gonna blame men for it. All right, anyway, let's keep going.
Last year, Miley Cyrus's song Flowers was the breakup anthem of all of the breakup girlies. And child-free women have absolutely been dominating a lot more of the space by actually saying the reasons why they don't want to have children and breaking another norm there. And then we've also got single women actually just saying, actually, I'm really happy by myself. Do
you want me to read these things? I mean, they're using, again, this is so pathetic. She's just doing this like, let's look at people on social media. Let's look at celebrities. What do these celebrity women think? Well, I guess they agree with they agree with me, so that means that I'm right. So sad.
Oh,
so sad.
I'm never really truly alone because I have a community of people around me and I don't have to have a man define me. This is a big shift. I think that we can often not quite realize that, but even in the 2010s, this would have been very radical, sadly, at least in the mainstream. Being in a relationship is a choice, just like leaving one is. But now the threat of being single is no longer the punishment of not being an obedient woman like it once was. But when it comes to people being single and wanting to be single, as I spoke about in this video here, there is no denying the fact.
Just a second. So I don't know what to say. This is just, I guess it is what it is. Women don't want to date men. And they apparently think that men are unlovable.
Well, I think this woman doesn't want women to date.
Look at her numbers.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's true.
I
There's a
don't know
lot of
what to
women
say.
that are
There's
just
a lot
going
of
along
women.
with it. Yeah.
There is a lot of women that have no value in having a relationship with a man. You don't have to have a value, like you don't have to put a value on a relationship with a man in terms of money or having children. You could just want male companionship. That's possible.
Yeah, until they're making that TikTok video in their car crying about why they're not finding any good men. Which is inevitable. Like,
yeah, because they're sort of divorcing the context. Usually people are saying, well, or men are saying, well, you know, look at all that feminism. No wonder you haven't found a man. And what you actually mean is look at all that misandry. No wonder you haven't found a man. And feminism is misandry. Like its premise is that men oppress women. And my particular hobby horse is feminists going into issues like domestic violence and sexual assault and manipulating the statistics so they can assert that it's one-sided and men use it to subjugate women in patriarchy. I mean, that's just filthy shit. And like that, so the whole framework of feminism, if you're a part of a movement that's willing to erase male victims of domestic violence and sexual assault in order to maintain your ideology, that's some fucked up shit. Like there's no excuse for it. None whatsoever.
mm-hmm.
And this is like, it's, yeah, if you're going to engage in that kind of behavior or you're going to support people who do, maybe men shouldn't have to find you attractive. Like if you're literally making it easier for men to be sexually assaulted and abused, maybe the problem is you and not men. Like, no offense. Just a thought.
All right.
Okay.
Let's continue.
In fact, it is far more expensive to actually be single in this, you know, capitalistic hellscape, right? I know one of the main reasons that people are staying in
hellscape. Like,
yeah, capitalistic hellscape.
Isn't this like, isn't this that capitalist hellscape what gave you these freedoms?
She wouldn't agree with that for some reason.
Where do you think that? Like, why do you think that you have this? You have the ability to purchase the freaking birth control pill or have abortions. You notice that? Like, what are you comparing this capitalist hellscape to?
Look, Allison, she had to cross off a certain number of commie talking points, and capitalism was just up next in line. So it didn't matter if there was actually a case against capitalism. She just had to make the case because it was a video essay, and in the video essay, at some point, she has to talk about. It's got to be mostly about misogyny, but there has to be a little bit of anti-capitalist stuff, a little bit of anti-natalist stuff, a little bit of pro-abortion stuff, a little bit of racist stuff. It's you just gotta, you know, you're not just eating like a cheese pizza. You got to put all the ingredients on there and make it into a supreme shit pizza.
Oh God, we're going really slowly through this. I'm gonna keep
an unhappy relationship.
Well, I'm gonna place. I don't know that there's. You know, I got some time codes, so I could jump to something.
I mean, just something that actually is there. Can you jump to a chase? Is there any chase in this?
No, I know. You know what this is. I mean, okay, so there's the unequal distribution of unpaid labor in relationships, which is like right about here. So it's actually coming up. It's about right here.
Hey, guess what governments keep on trying to do is strip away any social safety nets, which is really hurting all of us. Married men get preference.
No, actually,
Social safety nets.
All right.
Go
social
ahead.
Safety nets is giving people money,
Women.
Women money without them actually providing goods and services. That's what it is. Giving women money without them actually providing goods and services. What happens when you put more money into a system but don't increase the goods and services that money can buy. Lady, you're seeing what happens. All right? Like when you give people money for not doing anything, you increase the amount of money and you decrease the things that money can buy. Inflation. Are you noticing the inflation now yet? Anybody?
Women, feminists don't believe in inflation, so.
But inflation believes in you.
Yeah, of course, but they don't care. So I'm saying, like, they don't care. Like, what kind of person believes that they should be served by a system and not put anything into it at all? Like, what kind of person has all the authority and they want access to the resources and they want access to other people's labor, namely men, and none of the accountability, none of the duty that comes with it? What kind of person is that? Because that's what we're looking at.
Yep.
It's a slave master. That's what it is. That's what it is. She doesn't want to admit it because slavery is the bad thing, but that's what she's doing. She wants men's resources, labor, and security from the state, which uses men's resources and labor and whatever they extract and takes it from them and redirects it to women. That's why she can cry about, like social safety nets, because she doesn't realize. She might realize it, but if I'm being really charitable, she's too stupid to know that it is men's labor that created the world that she gets to complain about. And that's it. I mean, that's really it. And it's not just men's labor. It's men, like, historically dying in wars in droves and dying to acquire resources and dying to, like, maintain society on the job. And she can't see any of it. She's completely divorced from it. So she can go and make a video and whine about men and why women don't owe men anything, despite the fact that they literally owe them at least a life. Like,
well, I mean, if women don't owe men anything, then men don't owe women anything. Like, why? I mean, isn't it perfectly reasonable for men to take everything that they do and then just say, well, we're just not going to give women water. We're not going to give women
reasonable.
Electricity. Like,
but
if they don't owe women anything, why even do this? Like, why do they owe them any aspect of their labor? I don't know.
No.
Okay, let's keep going. Let's try to get through this.
Natural treatment at work. Meanwhile, married women don't. And we still function in a society where even if you're an incredibly hard worker...
Okay. All right. This is infuriating. Married men are not given anything at work. They just work harder, right? She's basically just taking the income difference between married men and married women and saying that married men have an income difference because of bias against married women. Well, maybe it's because married men work harder because they now have to support their spouse and children, which is exactly what it is. All right.
Single person, home ownership, or heck, even affording rent by yourself is a near impossible thing unless you've got strong intergenerational wealth, so you can rely on that to fall back on, or actually get a bit of a leg up to be able to actually get into the housing market.
She doesn't know why things cost more money now. She doesn't know why she's the reason. Housing is really expensive. Must be those darn 1%ers. Must be those darn rich. Yeah, men did that. This capitalist hellscape. Why does everything cost so much?
Men forced us, and now we can't buy houses if we don't get in relationships because we don't, as women, we don't earn 2 times. Like, what's the next push here? Every woman should have a double salary because otherwise, she shouldn't have to be discriminated against. I mean, if she has to have she has to have a partner to have a double salary. That's obviously discrimination against single women. Like, no, if you're single, you don't have the purchasing power of somebody in a relationship with 2 incomes. Duh. And you're never going to. Duh.
Yeah. Let me see if there's another time code. The impact of income imbalances in relationships. The growing divide in political ideologies.
How is it that a man earning more isn't like a woman doing more chores? Because presumably that earning more results in him paying more bills. In fact, I know that for absolute sureness, that when men earn more, they're paying more bills. They're providing more to the family budget. But that apparently is also oppression of women. It's not considered to be work that the man is doing that she's not doing. So if he pays all the bills, he's stealing from her. If he doesn't do the chores at home, he's stealing from her.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So I'm jumping ahead to the growing divide in political ideologies, I think is how it's described.
Well, that looks at least interesting.
Yeah, let's see what she has to say about this, because I feel like this is going to be men's fault too.
Cook or clean or like do dishes or get groceries or something.
But you girls don't listen.
What?
Change you! This all is changing.
No,
Go.
stop! That's disrespectful!
What?
Stop it! Look, I like you the way you are. I'm just asking you to grow a little.
Are we ever gonna get to the point where you stop working on me?
Look, lady, all of this Hollywood crap.
I know, right?
Flattering nonsense.
It is. This isn't really the part I want to get to. But
there are writers in Hollywood saying, how do we depict stuff that'll flatter women so they'll watch our shows? Like, this is irrelevant. Like, you could just skip this. What is this supposed to say?
I'm sorry.
I'm sure there are men in the world who are deadbeats. Like,
yeah, sure, they exist.
And so.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a chase here? Is there like a
changing
conclusion?
me? Maybe once, Jess. See it my way.
Well, you're always crazy and illegal.
This is me.
I'm
Take it or leave it. I'm not changing for
She's
anyone.
using TV to make her argument.
TV!
I know.
It's a television show.
Yeah, these aren't real people.
Do you have a father? Did your father ever sit you down and say what happens on the tube isn't real? Good Lord.
Well, the tube tells them what they want to hear, and then they say this is reality, and then they use that. This is why feminists always default to pop culture. Always. Even I don't care how big brained you think you are. If you're saying, well, I watched this TV show, then you're nope, we're done.
Particularly with women, a lot of like their single time is actually spent on building, better relationships with people around them, self-reflection, self-improvement, and actually realizing, oh, I've done these things wrong and this is the stuff that I should work on to, be better in myself, to be happier in myself, whatever. Meanwhile, what's been encouraged with men, at least from my perspective, and because I know that the alt-right rabbit hole is a strong pull, it's more about like blaming everyone else.
Each word you speak.
Like more straw manning.
Like, do these women who make this content realize they are the lip of the alt-right rabbit hole? They are the beginning of the funnel. They're the top of the funnel. Men watch this content and they start turning to alt-right content creators, or what they call alt-right, red pill content creators. Because of what you're doing, lady. Like, this is a 26-minute screed on how terrible men are as partners. What do you think men are going to do when they see it? I guess some simps will be like, oh yeah, all the other men besides me are exactly like that. Oh, I use the word simps. I can't believe it. All the other men, all the good men, the one good men in the world who are going to be like, oh, all the other men, yeah, they're terrible like this. Like that, those men, I guess, will like it. And the rest will bounce.
I think these women want men to be radicalized, though, because it gives them something to bitch about. Like, it gives them more relevance. And so they don't care. They don't care that what they're doing is like driving men to the brink. They don't care. I think they benefit from that.
So basically what her premise is of this is that women do self-improvement. They don't blame men. The women don't blame men, guys.
No, that never happens.
That never happens. That's just that.
They don't choose the bear. I didn't know anything about
blame
that.
Men. They never even cast the least bit of aspersion on men in this whole thing. Not at all. Not at all. But men do that. Like men. So women are just plodding along, self-reflecting, becoming better people, learning to levitate like yogis or something. Like that. They're doing the whole, elevating themselves as spiritual creatures. And men are just like, why are us Morlocks, or why are us Morlocks unable to attract the superior beings? In this framework, isn't it all convenient to her ego?
Yeah.
Like literally, you're a feminist. That means you actually buy into a society-wide threat narrative against men that blames them for everything wrong. And not just blames them for everything wrong, says that it's almost like a deliberate act, and also says that men use abuse and rape to subjugate women. It doesn't get more viciously blamey than feminism and all of its freaking offshoots.
Yep.
Like literally, you are denying services to male victims of sexual assault in order to maintain your ideology. At that point, there ain't no alibi. Use ugly. But I guess she's asserting this. Women just don't blame men. It's men that blame women.
Yeah, women work on themselves and their relationships, and happy stock photos of women hanging out in parks and doing yoga. That's what it is. That's the truth.
And men don't work on
I just wasn't paying attention. I wasn't paying attention.
When I go to when I've been in Hoflation or Homath. Yeah, Homath server, and I like look at I don't see those guys talking about what they need to do to become even remotely on the radar of any woman today. Yeah, they're not talking about that. They're not talking about how to improve themselves, socially and physically and all kinds of things to actually be noticed by women. What they term it is becoming people. So they like a lot of those guys are in what they call the not people category for most women. What that means is they're completely invisible.
Yep.
And they want to get out of the no people category, so they do a whole bunch of stuff to try to do that. So that's not happening. Okay.
No. All right.
No.
Around you for not fitting into patriarchal norms which have been set in place, because those are outdated now. Let's be real.
To go into this topic far deeper,
so essentially the men are being exactly what feminist theory says, or feminist conjecture says they are.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Well, finally feminism has predicted something.
Or created it.
Yeah.
But I don't. But yeah.
By creating it.
Yeah. But I don't think that's true anyway. I think those guys simp for women all the same.
Yeah.
That's like literally what they're built on, is like making women not making, but like gaining favor with women is built on that. So like, what are you talking about? Like, if it works, then the women are made happy. That's why they're drawn to the men. Now, of course, you don't like the patriarchal structure because it means that it's a man and a woman happy together, and that to you is oppressive. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Okay, let's just watch some more.
All right.
Out this amazing video from FD Signifier. He actually dropped this after I'd finished recording this video, but seriously, it's such a good piece of work and goes into things much more in depth.
I think this guy's probably going into the
he's probably from
the Department of Homeland Security document, and that he's like, this is what I've learned.
Linked for you down below.
If you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen that I shared this video to my stories.
Huh?
Do you think this is woman's a Fed? What the?
I don't know.
What is this? Oh,
Beats
she's
me.
Like a lesbian pornographer? Okay, let's that's a twist.
Balding filmed her friend who found out her boyfriend was cheating on her. So she made him move out, and on that same day, she had a party with all of her friends playing all sorts of breakup songs, and they had a really great time. She was laughing and celebrating whilst he was carrying his boxes out of the house.
Yeah, while they were recording, like afterwards, she probably bawled like a child, but Whatever.
Well,
I mean,
he did
breakups
cheat
are
on
not.
her.
But he did, but that doesn't mean breakups are easy. And like, it doesn't matter what the cause is. I've been cheated on a bunch of times. So what? It's tough. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Which
Like,
is, you know,
It does seem a little bit. Okay, let's keep going.
Okay.
quite a
you.
radical thing, because previously the whole image about a guy cheating on you means that you are ugly, you are worthless, you're meant to be crying for weeks, you're meant to be a puddle on the ground, you're meant to just be a burrito eating heaps of ice cream. But no, instead, you have this camaraderie around you from fellow women, and you can actually celebrate the fact that, oh, I deserve better than this. My worth as a woman is not actually defined by a guy.
Is there
And
another
honestly,
time code? This is boring as hell.
Yeah, let me jump ahead to something else. Okay. I thought there was going to be a discussion about the growing divide and
Is the
what?
big problem is why I don't see eye to eye like women like this, because they're always constantly like, "Oh, my worth is determined by men." I'm like, yeah, why did you have to learn that?
Oh, here we go. We're almost there. This is the part I wanted
Like,
to get
why
to.
wasn't that just? I think it's the problem is that honestly, if you are this deep into seeing yourself as a victim, and seeing your personality only in terms of how men affect you, of course you're going to need a man to define you.
Yeah.
There's no you without a man, because you don't define yourself by your actions, because you don't accept the consequences of those actions.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So here's where she gets into the political stuff. So,
the left to right divide is growing, and it's creating issues with our relationships. You've all seen the articles saying that Gen Z and Gen Alpha guys are veering more towards conservative beliefs, right? According to this article, which was the first thing that actually came up on Google for me, which is incredibly worrying, which I'll tell you about in a second as to
it says here, this is the American Enterprise Institute. Boys aren't growing more conservative. They're just not that into politics, which I think is true. Because we've looked at the graphs, the data. It's not that men are going far right. It is that men that are moving slightly right. And even then, it's just that they're kind of becoming less political, because most likely it's because they know that politics doesn't give a shit about them. Like, I mean, like, to the degree that they are interested might be just to like the degree to which they're concerned about whether or not they're going to get sent off to some foreign country that they can't find on a map to die in a war for women and a country that hates them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like, all of this dialogue is going with over top the background of, yeah, we're probably like, they're gearing up for conscription in the US.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, guys, this is what you're defending.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that she doesn't even realize that, yes, ultimately men are expected to give their life for the society that she enjoys.
Mm-hmm.
why that's not really the case. What he's saying is that men aren't becoming more politically conservative. It's just that they don't care about politics. Like, they're based in the USA, right? So what women have had to go through is the Trump presidency, the Me Too era, and Roe v. Wade getting overturned, but that doesn't impact guys at all. When someone is being actively hurt,
So
and
men should also advocate for women in their politics. I see that you really cringed there. Was it the Trump thing?
She's just checking the boxes, Allison. I told you.
I
I told you in the
about
beginning.
Trump thing,
No,
honestly.
I'm not. No, it's not that. It's not that. I'm saying earlier she brought up capitalism. She had to give that a ding because she has a list. She has to check the list. So she's like, well, I haven't mentioned Trump yet, so let me do that. I haven't mentioned Roe v. Wade and abortion yet, which I predicted earlier in this video. So I'm mentioning that, and I didn't mention Me Too. So like, this is, I mean, she's just checking boxes. It's boring. It's boring.
Well, the checking boxes is boring, but I want
Yes.
to point something out.
All right.
She's presuming that the only politics are women's issues,
Of course.
and that men
Because they are.
should be interested in politics because of women's issues. Like,
Yeah.
are you guys just gonna? I wonder if men are just gonna roll over and when they get those draft letters, they'll just be like, "Yep, I'm gonna go give my life to defend this country." Are they gonna do that? Like, are you going to defend this? Like, are you
It's also
prepared
worth-
to put your life down for this?
It's also worth pointing out that in Europe, abortion rules are stricter. The laws are
Yes.
stricter. But the thing is, she doesn't benefit from that, from saying that. So she targets the U.S. because that's what has to be talked about right now. It has to be Roe v. Wade. So it doesn't matter that you know, in general sending it back to the states is a good idea, and that it was just bad law to begin with. That doesn't matter because she sees it as a feminist talking point. Her job is to convert women.
Men don't get involved in politics because absolutely nobody is advocating for their interests.
That's right.
Or even their interests in being able to maintain the resources necessary to provide for women's interests. It's like, why would you get involved? Like, ultimately, politics are irrelevant to men at this point, which should be terrifying to people. That should be terrifying. Because that means politics has nothing to do with maintaining the system that the politics relies on, except maybe to interfere or demand more from it. Means there's absolutely no political position to actually consider what is needed by the system in order to continue to provide for us and all of our hobby horse issues, right? That's gone. Goodbye. And the other thing I was thinking about when we talked about this, the split in the previous video that was similar to this that talked about it, the one, it was the conservative woman who was upset that conservative men are blaming women. Okay, so
Ashley St. Clair.
Yeah. What if we don't blame women? We just say that women are going to vote the way women are going to vote. What does that mean? It means that the Republican Party has three options. It can do what the Democrats do, but even harder than that is appeal to women, right? In order to snatch away the women's vote. And this is based on just simple marketing. If you have a competitor, you have to either do what the competitor does, but better or cheaper or quicker, or you have to do something completely different in order to distinguish yourself, right? I'll go after a completely different market. So the Republicans either, in response to this, Republicans either have to do what the Democrats do, except better, faster, and more intensely, which means they have to get ahead of the Democrats' momentum with the female voter. They basically have to identify the next new purse puppy, all right, that everybody's going to advocate for, what the next thing after trans people, right? And they gotta commit. The Republicans have to commit to identify that purse puppy and restructuring society to turn it into a nursery for that purse puppy. That's what they have to do if they want to capture the female vote, if they want to get ahead of the Democrats' momentum. Or they can figure out how to appeal to the male voters that have disappeared from the system, that don't feel like they are any of their issues are heard at all. Okay? They have to get men re-engaged in the system, thinking that politics has anything to do with the running of society. Because guess where men are? They aren't in politics, because politics doesn't really have anything to do with infrastructure right now, except to impede it or make it more difficult. It doesn't have anything to do with the movement of material goods, except to impede it or make it more difficult. Supply lines, impede it or make it more difficult. So right now, politics for most men is just an obstacle to getting things done. And they don't see the connection between politics and running society anymore, is what I'm guessing. So they've opted out. The Republican Party has to get them back somehow. Or, and this is the third option, the Republican Party can continue to lose. And that is the option that they will choose. Or they'll choose in rank of likelihood, the Republican Party will continue to choose to lose. Number two is that they will attempt to do what the Democrats do, except harder, faster, and more intensely. And number three, well, they'll never do number three. No one in this political landscape will ever make an effort to care about men's issues or men's perspective. Ever. This is my prediction. And that is why our civilization. Kiss it goodbye. All right. Is that a black pill?
Yeah. Okay, so ultimately though, it's true, but the people reproducing, they're gonna win. So
yeah.
That's there is that.
Well, welcome to the Amish future.
Yeah.
Because this woman does not want does not want everything that she enjoys to have a future. She just wants to enjoy it. And then that's
while
it.
she's here. Yeah, that's
here.
it. She's not thinking about tomorrow. She's thinking about herself.
Thinking about perpetuating the society that gives her all of this stuff. Well, the capitalist hellscape.
Yeah, the capitalist hellscape.
I mean, if she's so concerned about having a lack of material goods to buy, like a house, maybe she should consider, like I was talking about, the issues of maintaining the system that provides houses, right?
What do you mean, Allison? Aren't there houses in the back? You should check the back. You should have some houses in the back. I'm here for a house. They should be in the back.
Okay.
All right.
You think, like, I'm 34. I'm still figuring myself out too in a lot of ways. But that doesn't mean that you get to opt out of humanity just because you're still learning about the world. I would argue you should always continue to be learning about the world, no matter what age we're at. The reason why I was...
What is this?
She's talking about men not being interested in politics. She's saying they should be.
Yeah, but like literally, what are politics? Politics is this. Politics is rearranging the world, or as much as we can, to accommodate whatever women's purse puppy is of the day. Like turning the world into a nursery. That's politics. And it's politics because women are the primary electorate. I mean, maybe you could also say that women view the world in terms of there are certain groups of people they consider underdogs, and men should go out and sacrifice their lives to protect them. So maybe that's an aspect of it. But really, politics are so divorced from the actual running of society. It's actually a little scary because there's something, George Orwell, I think, had a quote about how the ruling structure becomes a tyranny when it attempts to avoid its own, what is the word for it? It's basically like a sell-by date. It's obsolescence. So when the ruling elite are no longer useful for the running of society, they turn to tyranny to avoid obsolescence. And that's, I think we're there. We're getting pretty close to that. Okay.
All right. I got a super chow.
Yay.
So I'm gonna read it out from Richard Bier. Just double checking to make sure I didn't miss anything. For some reason, Rumble's not showing up in my social stream ninja, but I am looking at the Rumble chat for the Rumble gang. Richard Bier gives us $500.50. So I think he donated or gave $500.05.
Yeah.
Sorry,
he sponsored
supported. Yes, and says okay. So my
manifesto.
Yeah. Okay. So my Geneva Convention violation fine is tendered. If anyone else would like to either violate Geneva Convention protections against Allison or perhaps commit either a war crime or atrocity, then send the appropriate cringe link to feedthebadger.com as a super chow. Thank you, Richard. Did he send you this video?
I appropriated it. We were talking about a Manifestel video, but I this woman still isn't as bad as Manifestel. She's terrifying.
She's just like, I don't know, man. They all look the same to me. They're all pod people. They're just pod people. All right, let me play.
Essentially, I picked this one out from a bunch of things that he put through, and I was like, okay, you want us to do this instead of Manifestel? And he said, okay. Well, I guess he's agreed. Because I asked if he wanted if it would be okay to switch this out for Manifestel. But he didn't respond, so we just started the show, and then he sent this. So I guess he agreed. So that he basically sponsored the show. So thank you to Richard Bier.
Thank you, Richard.
So we're even closer to the final amount of
real estate.
Let's see, 5,890. We're at 5,215, which is like literally the fastest we have ever done this. So thank you guys, really appreciate it. And if you want to join our very generous supporters, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/support. It's very appreciated. We now have 675 to go. So there you go. I mean, that's great. It's great to get this done.
Yeah.
And let's go back to this woman who is justifying her existence.
So I got a little bit, I looked ahead at some other clips. So she's going to talk about more of this political divide and how women are moving further left, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
I was worried about why that popped up first on my Google results, is it's from a center-right think tank. That's scary. Younger generations of women are...
So American Enterprise Institute is super normie level right-wing stuff. But whatever, I get it. You're a feminist, so everything is scary.
Veering more left-leaning now, and are less likely to actually consider guys if they aren't politically aligned with them, which, you know, makes sense from a safety perspective. I'll definitely point that out. Like, say, for example, you're a woman, but then you find out that your partner is pro-forced birth, or the euphemism pro-life.
Young Democrats are
pro-forced birth.
Despise.
Holy shit, dude. Oh my God. Do you realize, okay, can I point something out? This is an interesting thing. I may have said this on a show already, but it seems that we are at the place now politically where men are trying to figure out how they can find a good woman to marry and have children with because they want to reproduce, because they want to move, like they want to like carry on their legacy, because they understand that there is a desire, like, well, they want to keep civilization going. And to do that, you need people. So men are generally pro having kids, and women seem to be generally pro killing kids. Like not just killing kids in the womb, but sending kids to foreign countries to die. Like, what? Does no one see that how starkly black and white this is? It is, though. Like, they're literally the Sith. They are the Sith. Okay, they are the lesbian space witches. They want to create babies from nothing and then kill them if they feel like it. They're literally like doing it, and they're celebrating it. Yes. Like, I'm sorry, I know it sounds hyperbolic, but when you think about it, the primary issue, and this was Ashley St. Clair when she was on the trigonometry thing, the primary issue that men are trying to vote on has to do with all of the things that allow them to support and develop a family. Like, they want a good economy, they want jobs, they want, the supply chains, they want energy, they want like to be able to fill up the car without it breaking the bank on them, all of the things that you need to have a well-functioning society. They want borders, they want cops, they want, like just the basic stuff. That's what men want. A place that is safe and allows them to have children. And women, the only thing they're running on, the only issue they seem to care about is killing children. Like, what's the middle ground there? Where's the fence sitter? Can you show me the fence sitter? What's your position on this? Like, what is it? Like, they're murdering babies and sending men to their deaths. Civilization. Like, those are the choices. I don't understand. Like, why are we looking at this with nuance? It's just not a thing.
Well, also for some reason, transitioning children to other genders.
That's killing children. Like, it's killing children. It's literally annihilating the species. Women are voting to destroy us on purpose because because cat turd. Men want to have families. They want all the normal shit. It's not radical. And this bitch is like, oh, that's scary. Center right. Oh, would you relax?
Oh my God.
Yeah, center right, which...
If you go back, I wanted to just point something out. Just go back to
in the video.
A little bit, just a little bit. Previous headline.
I may have to play it from here.
Makes sense from a safety perspective. I'll definitely point that out.
Oh, it's before this.
No, keep going.
Play it or go back.
Please, just play it. Play it. It's fun.
Like, say for example, you're a...
Okay, stop. Young Dems more likely to despise the other party. Why is this a safety issue for women? And then, you know what? I'm going to just blow this out. If women are equally violent domestically, and honestly, domestic murders is so rare. It is really rare. If you have to say, oh, there's one happening every week, that makes it rare, especially in a country of hundreds of millions, over 300 million. Okay. Domestic violence is equal between the genders. Sexual assault is looking like it's falling out to be equal as well. You are just as much of a danger to a man as he is to you. Get that through your head. All right? And you in particular, I would seriously worry about. But regardless, so you're just fear-mongering for nothing. But the other thing is that men on the right have less mental illnesses. And I don't mean to be stigmatize people who deal with mental illness. Most of them are, they're no danger to anyone, maybe to themselves. However, mental illness does correlate with problems like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Especially antisocial personality disorder, which appears to be higher on the left, as is narcissism. So if anybody should be afraid of anybody, it should be dating on the left. Not that I think that men in general, even men on the left, are dangerous, which they are not. Okay?
Right. Right. Unless they're like Russian Deadpool types, like
no, it's an election year, so I'm guessing that this is why this woman exists, is because it's
I'm sure it's an election year. Yeah, we got to propagandize the women. Because women will just do as they're told.
Yeah, it does actually really disturb me that the huge linchpin, like the huge lightning rod issue is abortion. And I say that as someone who's pro-choice, right?
Yeah, but if it's but again, like you wouldn't only vote on that, especially if you yourself aren't planning on getting abortions anytime soon.
Well, but it's like I am pro-choice, but I don't even know anymore, because it seems like you have to be pro-choice with no limitations. I'm like, yeah, I have limitations. I'm like, I don't know about the second trimester here. I think that's a little bit late. And I'm pretty sure that makes me pro-life.
Oh, it does.
In some of these songs. Yeah,
in many cases, yes.
I mean, if you're going to be sexually active and you don't want to have a kid, use birth control. And if something screws up with birth control, be aware of your body. So you get that taken care of within a reasonable amount of time. And absolutely not third trimester or any point after a child is viable out of the room. No, period. And I know now that probably makes me pro-life, according to this woman, because you're right. It does seem to be now about killing babies. And that's sick.
All right, I got a super chow from Great Indoors. No, but it's not that sick when you consider that what it's really about is only what women want in the moment, and not about babies or men or fathers or family or the government or civilization or the future. It's about what women want in the moment, period. So if you reject that women are entitled to shit just because they want it, then that makes you, in favor of forced births, is how she's wording it. So, but it's really not about that. It's not about the babies, because they don't care about the babies. It's about women wanting what they want. They just want what they want. It's like a child throwing a tantrum in a Walmart, and you either buy them the toy or you drag them out and put them in the back seat of the car. All right, so Great Indoors gave us a super chow and says for $5 to challenge Allison's black pill a bit. Remember that while society is crumbling, it is partially due to men's involvement diminishing. Government ultimately needs force to strengthen the rules they have written down, and those rules are alienating the men the government needs to enforce them. Governments globally will slowly lose grip on their population. This is what I predict. Also, the force they're using is going to be men. So like they have to appeal to their primary resource, which is men.
Yeah.
So yeah,
honestly, and the great irony of all of this is this woman hasn't escaped anything. She's basically a tool to induce guilt into men to keep the system running. That's it. And it's just at this point, it's just gone out of control. This isn't a person. This is just a dispensary machine for a particular viewpoint. You know, and that's actually really freaking sad. Is there anything more that she says that's of interest later on?
I think it was like one other section where she goes into redefining masculinity and challenging patriarchal teachings. We could not do that too. I mean, I think I already know what she's gonna say, but
everything she said. So men must conform to women politically. Men are to blame. And men need to change their identity, all to suit her. Why? Who made you grand poobah of the universe? Or women in general? Grand poobahs. Like, who made you, who put you in this position to be able to, well, let's, first of all, ignore sexual abuse and domestic violence against men completely. Ignore what women do in the relationship, even though you said at the beginning that you recognize it, but you're not going to even pay attention to it. Like, you recognize it, but you recognize it in such a way that it doesn't have to be included in the conversation. So you don't have to deal with it. You don't have to deal with men's abuse in relationships. You don't have to deal with what men do in relationships. You just you get the entire platform of asserting way that men define themselves is under your jurisdiction. Blaming men is under your jurisdiction. Demanding that men follow your politics is under your jurisdiction. No, it ain't. Okay, let's see this.
All right, we'll get into this a little bit. We don't have to do the whole thing.
Women want, nobody knows what a woman wants. They're so hard to figure out. And it's like, women are literally telling you exactly what they want in a relationship. They want mutual respect. They want appreciation. They want mutual effort. And yeah, it's, is that really a lot to ask for? You know, to be treated like a human? I don't think it's asking for too much personally. And if
you're not treating the person that when you say it that way, the person you're talking to, you aren't treating as a human being.
Yep.
Do you offer those things? Well, first of all, mutual respect requires you to let go of a narrative that men oppress women and that men use violence and sexual assault in their relationships to subjugate you. You have to let go of that because it's dehumanizing. And dehumanizing, according to the true definition of dehumanizing, which is presenting the other person as asocial or antisocial and criminal. You are playing a game of presenting men as antisocial and criminal. You are engaging in dehumanization right now. Oh God, I almost said Miss Piggy.
She does look like Miss Piggy. It's the things in her hair. They're like the ears, you know?
Yeah.
All right, let's play more of this stuff.
If anyone tries to tell you that that's too radical,
it is. You know
sweetheart,
what? Your problem
I know that I'm one of the advocates.
Your problem is you are getting back a fraction of what you're giving. You are presenting men as antisocial and criminal. You are dehumanizing men with this rhetoric right out the gate. That's why men are responding badly to it, unless they have an ulterior motive. They don't give
God,
a fuck.
I wonder why she's alone.
Unless they don't give a fuck about your opinion because they want something else from you. Believe you, any man who gives a fuck about your opinion is going to be offended by dehumanizing him. And he will either leave because he gives a fuck about your opinion, or he'll argue with you because he gives a fuck about your opinion. But you are instigating it by dehumanizing them. Look at the world and understand that the default state of men is respecting women, at least as human beings, as fellow human beings, right? The default state of men is all of the things that you're saying. Okay? The deviant men engage in these kinds of abuse, right? And that's a very small number of men. The default state of men is caring about women. That's what you're exploiting right now.
Yep.
That's literally what you're exploiting right now. If men didn't care about women, you would be completely like your channel. You would have 5 subscribers and no one would give a shit about you telling men how to care about women harder.
Yep. Okay.
Good Lord.
like talking through issues, but maybe just get ready to wear that Britney Spears t-shirt, okay? And the thing is that when we actually say this stuff, some men are like, well, you want a breadwinner and you want someone that's tall and you want a guy with all of his hair and all of this stuff, and it's like, trust me, I think a lot more women would be open to like someone that's genuinely emotionally mature than you really think, okay? And I'm not saying that
who is your age but 60 years old.
I know. I know that women everywhere are saying that's all these things that they want, but trust me,
it's not.
That might not be the case. And also, if you happen to approach a woman that is turned off by your approach because you don't meet the criteria, that is completely arbitrary and you can't actually predict, she might call the cops on you. But that's okay though. It's worth it because you have to respect women. Okay.
Yeah, let's keep going.
that women don't want like guys to be attractive or whatever. I'm just saying like it's not quite the thing that you're saying here. Like women just want to feel safe with their partner, and statistically, y'all are the ones that are red rumming us, okay? Y'all are the ones that are hurt.
Oh boy, here come the feminist data. It says killing a women and girls by their intimate partner or other family members, global statistics, female murder victims and victim offender relationships, global estimates. So it's all basically just looking at one side of the equation. And she's like, oh my God, men are scary.
Oh yeah, no, this is because men are far more likely to be killed by strangers.
Mm-hmm.
And the proportion of women who are killed by intimate partners is much higher than men, so they go with that statistic. But still, this is an incredibly rare thing. And honestly, if you also include, I have seen a breakdown from Australia that if you include other familial relationships besides just husbands and wives or male female partners, women actually do the majority of intimate killings, but they just don't show the statistics on killing children. Wonder why.
That's interesting. I wonder why.
Hurting us most, like when someone unalives, the first person to be looked at is the partner, especially when it's a woman that is passed, okay? I'm just saying it's something to just bear in mind.
Yeah, maybe you should take responsibility for all the child killing, lady.
Yeah.
Like, this is collective blame, huh? All right, we're doing the collective blame game. And this is a very, very, like, everywhere, the number of spousal murders is actually very low. It is statistically not a big problem, at least from a statistical level. So, also, you do a lot of kid killing, lady. Maybe we should have a concern about you.
Maybe.
Aspect for a lot of women. This is one of the main problems with the isolationist red pill BS that just goes under the guise of self-improvement when it's genuinely just peddling misogyny. It's not actually helping guys learn how to cook or take initiative and clean, how to actively listen, or how about unpaid labor needs to be shared.
Okay, here's let me disabuse you of the notion. When men take more active role in chores, they're more likely to get divorced.
Sorry, that was an accident.
Oh my God, stop it!
I don't know how long this goes for.
Can you stop it?
Yeah, hold on.
I thought this was an intentional statement on.
No, it was an accident. I was trying to find something else in it.
Because
the wailing feminist. It was the wailing feminist.
Tate was on screen, and he's the
no.
He's the
I'm not.
Current
Yeah, right.
No. So I figured that you did that intentionally.
No, I was looking for the clip of Oliver Reed saying men make the best chefs, and that's what I was looking for, but I don't know where it is, so I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's fine. I know. I'm done. Does she have anything further to say? Because it seems like this is just basically election year propaganda.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't watched past this point. I think that she just wants to basically say, guys, please stop watching manosphere / red pill content because it scares me. That's it. And I'm just like,
it scares her. It just is a challenge to her assumption. It's a challenge to her assumption that she gets to define men's identities. Yet, I mean, she's oppressed, but she gets to define the identity of her oppressor. She gets to blame men, and men's politics, they should essentially do politics the way she decides. It's astounding how entitled she is to control for someone who's supposedly part of the oppressed group.
Yeah, I know. Well, listen to a little bit more and see if she makes up. I mean, I already know what she's gonna say. Essentially, become more like women and abandon this stuff because it's
become more like women like her.
Like women that serve her, that are useful to her.
Yeah, I don't think
but also
she's gonna
like
say
her.
that men become more like women like me.
No, because you're not a woman, Allison. She's decided that.
Dad, no. Instead, it goes into saying something like, if a woman's ever been touched by another man, that she's impure, but like the hands of the man are never called into question. They speak of submissive young girls that they can mold, not about empowering each other in a partnership to learn together and strive towards both of their goals, supporting each other. It's just...
Again, more TV shows. Nobody thought Don Draper was an idol. Nobody thought that.
Accurate to the actual Don, like the guy he was based on, his name.
Yeah.
Who married a fellow architect. Okay.
A woman?
Yes, a fellow architect who was a woman.
That's impossible.
That they ran a business.
Women didn't have jobs back then. They weren't allowed.
Okay, and he was very apparently, you know, they were a partnership. But this is the funny thing, like she is saying that men want to mold women. Well, that's exactly what you've been saying. Like how okay, where are we at the point where she's saying that we need to define masculinity? Is this the part?
I think so. Yeah. Well, let's see.
Yes, and it's making
you're presuming to define men's identity. You're presuming to define their politics, and you're presuming to define what they're to blame for, and you're also presuming to deny their experiences of abuse, both physical and sexual assault with women, in relationships with women. Like, who is molding who, or who is presenting an expectation that one party mold themselves to the other here? Like, yeah, if I'm, you know what, I'm not going to defend Andrew Tate, aside from saying you have met, essentially what you're doing is you're looking into a mirror and seeing yourself, and you don't like it, lady.
Yeah, that's probably a fair way to put it.
Men get left behind and honestly miserable. Men are struggling with loneliness more than women, and it's no surprise why. But the thing is that it can change. But unless they want to do that work, they're gonna be left lagging behind, which honestly hurts my heart, because it will take them so long to earn.
Bullshit.
It doesn't hurt your heart. But, you know, honestly, you're right. Men need to create connections with each other. You know, they need to figure out how to deal with the society that apparently women have decided they no longer want them. At least that is the overwhelming message that I see women giving men today.
Which is what?
Well, that they're just that men are not lovable. I don't know what to say. I am responding to what I see. This is the message that women are giving men, that they cannot expect companionship with women. They can't expect a woman to appreciate what he is as a person and a man. And it's like, all I can say is that, yeah, men have to figure out how to live in the world that is. Thanks, Bryony.
Yeah.
Thank you. And what I'm trying to do is encourage men to have those networks and to support each other. And outside this framework, but I'm not sure that Bryony that's really what she wants. I think she wants men to continue to suffer until they do what she wants.
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
your suffering is so terrible. If only you would do what I want. You might see suffering. Okay.
We want to play a little bit more, and I think that's it.
Learn all of this stuff. And quite frankly, this is actually going to be making men more dangerous, and I do genuinely worry about what the future's going to be like as men feel more and more entitled and women gain more and more independence and self-assurance, because lashing out is something which happens already, but I kind of see it potentially getting worse.
Okay. So she's terrified. All right, I'm gonna leave. I can't do anymore. I can't do anymore because no, I can't do anymore. That I don't think there's any. There's not. I'm not gonna get anything else out of it. It's like 2 minutes left. I don't think that she's gonna do a sudden heel turn. Yeah, it's just
threat narrative.
all the way down.
More presenting men as a threat to women.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this content is really popular. Like,
It is.
Women love it.
Their favorite genre of film appears to be after romance horror, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, so it's just like, if you can stomach it, I wonder if she does make a point for all this. Because at the moment, all she's doing is demonizing men.
I don't think. Okay, all right.
Presenting them as antisocial. And
No,
criminal.
no. She wants men to do the cooking and the cleaning. Here's a stock photo of a guy ironing clothes. She thinks that basically men becoming submissive to women is the only solution. I think.
We need better education for boys, better role models for men. We need to let go of all of these patriarchal teachings so that kids can grow up knowing that if their wife earns more than them, that just means that they're going to have a nicer life overall. You'll be able to enjoy the nicer things in life. Oh no, what a terrible thing to have to suffer through. Come on, that's something
stop,
like that.
Please. Yes, we'll stop divorcing men who earn less than you.
Yeah, that'll totally happen. Again, this is another one of those. Men should just put themselves in a position where women will find them disgusting, and we'll never ask women what they think. Because they never do. They never do. It's always the same shit. Like, dude, how long have you been alive? Why are you still this stupid? I mean, unless you're just intentionally being deceitful, because you know that if men start living the way you think they should, the average woman, unless you tell them, hey, are you okay with making more than your man? They're gonna say no to that. That's just the world. Stop pretending like you can make things the way you want them to be. You're not God. Things are as they are. Women want men that can provide for them. If a man can't, a woman will not find them attractive. End of story.
Well, maybe we could ask women to do the work to stop that.
No, women shouldn't have to do anything, though. This is why they never ask them. They think women are fine just as they are.
Infuriating, because the thing is that she's at war with the stated expectations of other women. This is what women want.
Yes.
You know, you can say men can be happy as they want with earning less than a woman. They're the woman that they married. But it doesn't matter if she divorces him, because then she is no longer the woman that he married.
Yeah.
So he's her ex. Doesn't matter. I mean, he could be happy as a clam that she earns more. But if she divorces him, and the honest to God truth is, I don't know where she's getting this, because there is so much hateful rhetoric around men who do not pay for women out there. Like, did she completely miss all of that? All right, let's keep going.
Okay.
This is not taking away their masculinity, and if people think it is, we really need to reevaluate what the term masculinity even means.
Women are the ones who define masculinity. They're the ones defining it. No, but that's what they do. When she says, well, if you think this is going to make you feel like less of a man, don't be so daft. It's women that do that, not men. Oh my God. It's like, this is why it makes me mad, because she has to know better. So this is intentional deception. To make the women in the audience that watch are the ones who are never going to say, well, you know, I don't like this is what I expect from my man. Men do this to each other. It's never my fault. Like, this is classic. The same lies that have been going on for over 100 years are still going on, and women are still believing it. Okay, I'm just flattened.
Yeah. She's pretending like women don't define what's attractive in men.
Right.
Like, simply, let's just put it that way. Women don't define what's attractive in men. Wrong. Women define what's attractive in men. So women are defining what's attractive in men. Men are responding to that, and you're blaming the men.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, let's do more.
Whew, goodness, does all of this mean that I think relationships are doomed? No, not even the straight relationships, okay? I think that healthy relationships can and do still happen, including for straight people, despite the struggle that is being faced by a lot of people. I know so many people that are just like, oh my gosh, dealing with all of the stuff I've been talking
Okay, now do lesbians.
about.
Okay.
They're just exhausted by it. Previously, I've shouted out male influencers who I think are really, really positive for guys to actually make sure that they've got role models who aren't actually just in the alt-right sort of space. So I will have some on screen now, and I'll link them below yet again.
Well, let's look at these guys. I don't know these. Oh, the Vlog Brothers? Fuck
Oh,
off.
the feds. Are they the feds?
No, I don't know. Probably they're like big channel, but yeah, Hank's channel. No. All I see is soy. I'm not buying it.
I've already done that previously, but like I just wanted to make sure that we're not going to lose hope. And the thing is that, as I've talked about so many
Can I
times,
offer something? I think it's possible I have more testosterone than many of those men.
Yeah, probably. I think that those
that
I think that male feminists are, and I know that those are all male feminists. I think they're more harmful to men than like female feminists are with their rhetoric and stuff. I think that male feminists are probably very depressed. They have lots of mental health issues. They're really confused about their identity. I think they're struggling. I think this is absolutely poisonous for them, and I would like to save as many of them as I could. But no way. So.
All right. I don't think that there's going to be much after this.
No, she basically made a suggestion for those
Once all
guys.
the testosterone has left and the soy has reached terminal levels, I think we're at the end. No, seriously. I just occurred to me looking at them. I'm like, I hormonally, if we're going to judge things hormonally, I think I'm more of a male influencer than a lot of those guys. Oh God, that was an awful thing to say. Okay.
I got a Rumble rant. I want to read it out really quick.
Okay.
From NovaFan21, who gives us $2. Thank you, NovaFan. It says, I can't wait for how feminists react to the economic changes of the next few decades. I call it Trump derangement, derangement. I think it means syndrome 2.0. Well, yeah, once things like when they have to experience whatever the struggles are, they're just going to blame it on men anyway, even though women are literally voting for this shit and acting like, you know, it's in the back. It's just in the back.
All right. I think that we're good.
Yep.
I think we're really good. I'm good. I want to go play with my dog. So if you enjoy this content, please support us at feedthebadger.com/support. We got about 6 days left and about $615 to go. So like $5-10 is really going to make a difference now. So please go to feedthebadger.com/support and help us out. Thank you to everybody who got their support in early. Really appreciate it. Takes the weight off my mind, off my nervous disposition mind. And also, if you want to send us a comment at any time after the show is over, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip, and we will endeavor to read your comment at the next similar show, like next relevant show. So once again, feedthebadger.com/support to support the show, feedthebadger.com/justthetip to send us a tip and a comment, and avoid the YouTube censorship enhancement system. So comment enhancement system. All right, back to you, Brian.
All right. Well, if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment. Let us know what you guys think about what we discussed on the show today. You'll find a link to the original YouTube video in the description. Beware in the comment section, there be monsters.
Wait.
What?
I do have something that might be applicable. I do. I have a video of Democratic, I think, politicians laughing at the sexual assault of a 13-year-old boy by migrants or immigrants, or 13-year-old girls, sorry. And I mean, honestly, like when you think about using sexual assault as a a political tool, it seems like it definitely is very dependent on politics.
Sure.
All right. Yeah. I do not have it at the moment, so I can't show it, but it is really interesting that if you are a Democrat, the sexual assault by migrants or immigrants is a point of humor, or at least Fox News bringing attention to it is a point of humor. And yet sexual assault by men who are citizens is apparently a legitimate thing to bring up for creating threat narratives. I just want to point that out because she's created a lot of threat narratives here against women, against men. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Go ahead, take it out.
All right. Well, anyway, yeah. So please share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you so much for coming on today's episode of the dating thing. And we'll talk to you guys in the next one. I'll see you in the news show tomorrow. I switched with Hannah if you hadn't noticed. So see you guys then.
Are machines, dude. Okay, they are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.